Father, we lift this town to you.
Tonight, a community gathering to remember the lives lost and the people who are still missing. The tragedy being felt across the state.
It's not just here that the hurt is felt, it's every part of the state. Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, West Texas, East Texas.
But one thing is clear, there is plenty of help for the Hill Country.
We remain committed. We're here for the long run.
It was a night of tears, prayers, and powerful unity in Kurville.
And tonight, the community is leaning on one another to grieve together. As we learned tonight, the catastrophic flooding in Kerr County has taken 103 lives. And at this hour, 161 people are still missing.
KENS 5's Alicia Nieves joins us live from tonight's vigil. Alicia?
The faces of the flood victims line the flower wall off Water Street. Take a closer look. We still have people dropping by at this hour, as they have throughout today, dropping off tokens of remembrance like stuffed animals, balloons, pieces of clothing, and it's glowing now in the candlelight thanks to the candles handed out at tonight's vigil. You know, you truly can feel the love from this community in every prayer and every flower.
I hope that they're all with the Lord.
In the heart of Kurville, grief bloomed into a garden of remembrance. A flower wall lined with faces, young and old, each a life lost in the Hill Country flood.
I'm sad because all those people on the wall died.
The number of victims continues to grow, but tonight in Kurville, no name went unspoken. No family grieved alone.
I like that everyone just come in. It doesn't matter if one of the family members is on the wall or not. They're coming to pray for all those people.
Green ribbons honored Camp Mystic. Churches from across the region joined hands. And therapy animals, including a goat and a high-energy pup named Chrissy, gave silent comfort.
So she doesn't solve a problem, but she brings a little joy and a smile at a time when it's often desperately needed.
2 miles away, another memorial built by Roberto Marquez.
But looks like we got as many crosses as the victims.
He set up crosses after the Uvalde shooting and the San Antonio migrant tragedy. He finds once he starts, he never builds alone.
And someone came, joined us, and then 2 more, and then finally it was a group of like, I don't know, 8, 10 people.
As he worked, families approached, some still searching, others simply needing to speak their grief out loud.
It's the most miraculous demonstration of unity we see within this community, recognizing that we're really joined in this sorrow and grief together.
Even as families mourn and search for answers, tonight reminded Kurville they do not have to carry this pain alone. So this vigil was not just about remembering the lives lost, it was also about lifting each other up.
I speak for probably everyone. It's been an emotional roller coaster.
That is U.S. Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin. He's credited for helping evacuate more than 160 Camp Mystic girls a week ago.
Well, tonight, he and his crew are giving us new insight on what they've gone through. KENS 5 reporter Megan Reyna is live in Ingram tonight. And Megan, a week ago, we were live on the air, and you were right there seeing the work these crews were doing.
Yes, Henry, it was just down the road from where we're at the high school where those helicopters landed. Those girls got off shortly after. They were able to reunite with their parents. A week later, we're now seeing those green ribbons in honor of the Camp Mystic girls that did not survive. But for those first responders, including the Coast Guard, this was a mission that will stick with them forever.
We never thought this would happen in our lives.
From Corpus Christi to Kerr County, the Coast Guard was one of several agencies who answered a call for help on July 4th. Our cameras capturing the moment they successfully brought girls from Camp Mystic to safety at Ingram Tom Moore High School.
Yeah, so they were sad, upset, asking me where their family members were.
More than 700 girls were attending the camp in Hunt when the Guadalupe River started consuming the campsite. 27 campers and counselors, including the camp's director, died. but hundreds were saved.
And some of them were thrown out of windows to actually make it into the helicopter. So I think that's when it really hit me with the gravity of the situation that we were dealing with.
For rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin and flight mechanic Seth Reeves, this was their first mission, one that will stay with them forever.
We received a phone call and we talked to one of those little girls who, sat on the phone with us and thanked them for, being here. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, was not only listening to a small child that shouldn't have to know the horrors of a tragedy as this, but to thank us for something they really don't understand.
Pilot Ian Hopper recalls an interaction with a camper that stuck out to him, especially since he's a father.
I see she's got tears running down her face, and she's scared. Clearly, she may have just lost her sisters. She may have just lost her friends. And I turn around and I give her a thumbs up.
He says she gave him a thumbs up as well, along with a smile.
And at that moment, I knew that I wasn't just moving people from one place to another, but I felt like a dad that was rescuing my daughters, and that was.
And these four wanted to acknowledge there are many heroes in this story, from the camp counselors to the National Guard. Now, the last check that we got was that there was 5 campers and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic still unaccounted for. Reporting live from Ingram, Megan Reyna, KENS 5.
Leading up to the flood, forecasters were monitoring the threat, and flash flood watches were first issued Thursday afternoon. Meteorologist Ryan Shoptaw breaks down the timeline of the alerts issued in Kurville.
Leading up to the deadly flood in Kerr County was Tropical Storm Barry, which made landfall in Mexico. It weakened fast over land, but the moisture moved farther north, creating areas of lift and enhancing a weather feature known as the low-level jet from the Gulf, producing heavy, slow-moving rain. Rain estimates ranged from 11 to 20 inches over parts of central Texas between July 4th and 5th. Leading up to this, the National Weather Service mentioned the potential for flooding earlier in the week on Tuesday and Wednesday. But it wasn't until Thursday afternoon where confidence grew and flood watches were issued at 1:18 p.m. By 6:10 Thursday evening, a special discussion was released highlighting concerning trends, heavy rainfall rates, and the higher chance of flash flooding. Now, the first flood warning was issued at 1:14 a.m. Friday morning for Kerr County, where this would typically trigger wireless emergency alerts. Just before 2:30 a.m., meteorologists mentioned up to 5 inches had already fallen and flash flooding begun in Kurville. Just after 4 a.m., a flash flood emergency was issued, a particularly dangerous situation, and minutes later, the Guadalupe River reached major flood stage over 22 feet. By 5 a.m., it was cresting at 37 feet in Hunt, Texas.
And this setup is similar to the flood of 2002, where tropical rain surged in from the Gulf, leading to a historic weather event. So a reminder that early summer can be a time where weak tropical storms near Texas, and they have the potential of driving in days of heavy rainfall. Ryan Shoptaw, KENS 5.
We're getting a better understanding of the really tough conditions rescue crews are now facing. KENS 5's Vanessa Croy is live at the command center in Kurville with those details today. Vanessa.
Sarah, 56 adults and 30 children. Just let that sink in for a moment. Here, a friend of mine here told me the immense pain is just absolutely unreal. In fact, we heard from the sheriff today, the last live rescue they made was Friday. And as still ongoing, though, first responders here are focused on bringing everyone home. I'll take a look at the video that we captured over the past few days of the damage and the debris. This is an immense challenge also for first responders. They have boots on the ground. In fact, we heard from the Texas game wardens today. They have thoroughly searched 26 miles of river. They have to comb through mountains of debris. And think about that for a second. That debris is made up of trees, of homes, of limbs, anything you can think of, kayaks that have floated in the river. They have to comb through that layer by layer in hopes of bringing those people home. The game warden also told us today the terrain also being a challenge as the 440 rescues they've made and 30 recoveries. Take a listen what else they had to tell us.
We've got numerous responders with specialized capabilities where we've got these large pile of debris. And with our canines and you know, when we're trying to make these recoveries, these large piles can be very obstructive. And to get deep into these piles, it's very hazardous. And those specialized teams have to go in there layer by layer because our first responders, also the safety of them is concerned. So it's extremely treacherous, time consuming, it's dirty work, the water's still there. So we're having to go layer by layer, peeling these off to make those recoveries.
Sarah also discussed today was maintaining mental wellness for these first responders. I know the lieutenant said today in a press conference, finding the body of a person is tragic and finding a child is extremely tragic. Our prayers are with everyone out here today, Sarah. We're going to send it back to you.
Absolutely. With each passing hour, it's getting more and more difficult, and the news is getting harder to bear. Our prayers are definitely with the Hill Country community today. Political leaders across Texas and the nation have been in and out of Kurville, providing resources and support after last week's flooding. And as they continue, some leaders are looking ahead on how to prevent this from happening again. KENS 5's Earl Stoudemire explains.
I spoke one-on-one with Senator Ted Cruz and State Representative Wes Friedel, and they both say their first step is to help the Hill Country rebuild and recover. Their next step is looking at what could be done better. Ted Cruz brought up the idea on how we can improve emergency response times and what can be most effective to accomplish this. I asked him about the possibility of a siren system along the Guadalupe River, and he says it could be a possibility, but wants to review the entire situation before making a move with federal support. What do you think, in your opinion, can be done better moving forward for here in Kerr County and Central Texas and the Hill Country that you're thinking about?
Well, listen, as I said, that's going to entail looking to what exactly transpired and taking time based on the actual evidence of what happened to say what would be more effective. I'm confident that conversation will play out in the weeks and months ahead.
On the state side, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says the state should cover the cost for sirens to be installed along the Guadalupe if Kerr County can afford it. State Representative Wes Friedel, representing the Hill Country, says he's going to continue to push for state funding at the Capitol and wants to improve self-service in the Hill Country. House Bill 13 was a recent bill Friedel voted against that would have created a new government council to make an emergency response plan.
House Bill 13, had no transparency for how government money could have been allocated, and it was actually more of over a 10-year period. I think it would have been a very ineffective bill, and it didn't have transparency that the people of Texas deserve to have with any government agency.
So would you be open if there was transparency on how it was spent to kind of improve that? And then, well, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I would be open to discussing it more.
Governor Abbott released a statement Sunday saying potential solutions to warn anyone along the Guadalupe will be discussed in a special session on July 21st. In Kurville, Earl Stoudemire, KENS 5.
Well, in the aftermath of the Hill Country floods, tow truck drivers are stepping up in ways no one expected.
And what they are seeing will certainly stay with them forever. They are pulling out of cars out of trees, digging through mud, and in some cases, they've been the ones to find the missing.
As KENS 5's Alicia Nieves shows us, the towing industry is doing more than just cleaning up. Alicia?
They didn't ask for recognition, but in the thick of the Hill Country floods, tow truck drivers became lifelines. Many of them aren't charging a dime, just answering calls one after the other. And what they have seen, they'll never forget. They're not just clearing roads, they're clearing the way for hope.
We work beside, volunteer fire departments, police departments, DPS.
Early July 4th, Casey Sparks got a call for a home flooding in Hunt. By the time he left his house, he knew right away this flood was different.
The first call was actually a friend of mine. His mom was out in Hunt. He said, "Can you go check on her?" And I said, "Absolutely." I went down almost a quarter of a mile from my house and was greeted with raging floodwater.
Calls haven't stopped since.
So we got call after call. We started moving cars out of the way for first responders.
But not all recoveries end with relief.
Cadaver dogs have hit on a couple of the vehicles that were submerged, but no bodies were recovered out of any vehicles or anything like that, which is a plus in my book.
JD's record just added a new off-road recovery unit, and it's already made a difference.
To get to places that big excavators can't, this has a long winch cable on it. We're able to pull cars out of places that, a lot of first responders can't get to.
When they're not recovering vehicles, they're helping deliver fuel and supplies.
Taking them out there to Ingram Volunteer Fire Department, Hunt Volunteer, and Mountain Home.
At Integrity Towing, the phones haven't stopped ringing. 3 drivers, 3 trucks, nonstop.
To help come pull vehicles out of trees or from areas that are just too unsafe, they've got to pull them out, and that way the search teams can then go in and search the vehicles.
Sometimes tow truck drivers are the first ones to discover what's left behind.
Our role is just to get the vehicles to a safe place to then be searched. That is not to say that our towing guys have not seen things that will stick with them forever.
And yet they keep going. Not for money, for their town.
Everybody was ready to help at no cost. I mean, they're exhausted, but I think it's just the love of this community that's keeping them going.
Integrity Towing says July the 4th, their first call came in at about 5:30 a.m. It was someone in an RV who needed help. And in the 10 to 15 minutes it took them to get to that area, every RV had washed away. Keep in mind, these recovery calls they're answering are on top of the regular calls they're getting every day. Live in Kurville, Alicia Nieves, KENS 5.
As search and recovery operations continue in Kerr County, divers are playing an important role, and rescue teams say more divers are needed.
Tonight, KENS 5 reporter Mike Jimenez spoke with a diver on the importance of their operations. Mike?
Henry Easties, I'm here at Nimitz Lake in Kurville along the Guadalupe River. Behind me is a growing memorial. Now, I spoke with organizers of the memorial earlier this evening who tell me that they have erected a single cross for every flood victim. Now, earlier this afternoon, I spoke with Eric Herr, who is the vice president of the nonprofit Search and Support San Antonio, who says more divers like himself are needed to help in the search and recovery operations.
We do need divers to come out. I was diving in the river today for about 2 hours.
Diver Eric Herr with Search and Support San Antonio says divers are playing an important role in search efforts as more than 160 individuals remain unaccounted.
People actually have to dive down, go into the water, and look for them.
Herr says divers follow the lead of cadaver dogs who can pick up on the scent of human remains in the waters and alert searchers. Another rescue team we spoke with explained how their dive teams search once cadaver dogs alert them of a scent.
He'll drop a block with a rope tied to it and just start doing a circular pattern until he finds anything.
While Herr says Thursday dive didn't yield any discoveries, Herr says they have to look because it will take time for the water levels to recede where debris can be visible. Adding to the challenges of water searches is the amount of debris that remains in the river.
I had a rope. I couldn't see. I had little to no visibility at all. So essentially I was just feeling around all throughout the river with my hands.
As search crews comb through piles of debris and search the river, searching for missing individuals, Herr says the emotional stress for those helping can be overwhelming. Herr has a military background as a fatality manager with the U.S. Army and has been through similar missions, but says others may not recover mentally as easily.
For anybody that doesn't have those kinds of experiences, they could get PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's one of those things that could very well affect them for years to come.
And Her says if you do have diving experience and you do want to help, you can contact Search and Support San Antonio and they can connect you with the proper resources.
Nonprofit organizations and volunteers are working to support those impacted by the flooding disaster across the state. And the work can take an emotional toll, which is why one organization drove more than 250 miles to bring comfort in the form of puppy snuggles. Reporter Orko Mena has the story.
These furry first responders
you can turn off and we're coming out.
Are taking a trip into the heart of the devastating flooding in the Texas Hill Country.
I'm surprised I'm not in tears.
Folks here say their presence is a divine calling.
We knew that God wanted these dogs here, so we just came.
The 4 dogs are part of Angel Paw's pet therapy ministry at Champion Forest Baptist Church in Houston. They drove 270 miles to come to the Salvation Army in Kurville. The therapy dogs are here not just for those seeking help.
God has not abandoned these people here,
but also those who are giving it.
To come here and to be here and to be a blessing to these people, just to see the reaction of their faces and just that moment where they're just calm, where they're happy, and they're there to comfort. That's what their job is to comfort. And these dogs know their job very well.
It may seem small,
You just bring smiles to my face.
but the dog's visit,
thank you. It's much appreciated.
Means the world to the people providing the assistance.
The Salvation Army is very appreciative and very thankful for all the organizations, the communities that are helping, the people that are driving hundreds of miles to come and help.
Any bit of support is welcome and shows that the kindness of strangers, whether they're in line to drop off donations or their therapy dogs offering a snuggle, can go a long way.
There's lots of hope out there, and so that's what we're here to give, is hope.
And a new resource is now open in Kurville to help survivors rebuild. FEMA, the state, and the Small Business Administration are all working together, offering one-on-one help. KENS 5's Vanessa Croy is joining us from the Disaster Recovery Center. Vanessa, the center is at the First Baptist Church in Kurville. What do people need to do to get help?
Well, many of these people that have come here today, Henry, tell me they are just overwhelmed after days of heartbreak and destruction. Well, help is now here, and it's not just for homeowners, it's also for renters, for small business owners, and anyone really in Kerr County that is dealing with this disaster. Now, the center is where survivors can actually talk to someone face to face and get the help they need. Representatives from FEMA, the SBA, and the state of Texas all on hand, ready to help. Officials say this is also a one-stop shop for business owners who could speak with SBA reps about disaster loans. Also on hand here are supporters from all over Texas. We talked to Patsy Salmon, who's from Carrizo Springs. She's a volunteer through her church and the Southern Baptist Convention, who's helping with meals for first responders and to share prayer with anyone who needs it. She tells us she was also volunteering last year in North Carolina when that area was hit with devastating floods.
It's the strength of these communities. I saw it in North Carolina. I'm seeing it here. It's everyone has that hope and faith that everything's going to be okay. Everyone I've talked to today, they're just praising God and thanking Jesus for everything that He has done for them and for everything He is doing. I have not seen a stronger faith community since I was in North Carolina.
We've seen so many examples of Texans coming together, and that was certainly the case yesterday. A group from San Antonio made their way to the Hill Country, bringing with them food and a whole lot of heart. KENS 5's Vinny Vanzetta was in Center Point and brings us this story.
I've said many times in my nearly 15 years in San Antonio, Texas, that our city has beautiful, amazing, wonderful open hearts. Well, check this out today on Main Street in Center Point, Texas.
Hey, what about drinks?
Yeah, well, I think we have plenty of those.
Yeah, right, but Gatorade?
We're going to
Want a Gatorade? We're from San Antonio, Texas. We're down over here in the Hill Country, and we're just trying to feed all the people who are involved in what has happened today, right? The workers, the people that live here. But it's been amazing, man. They've been stopping and letting us feed them. Yeah, we
can probably take them over to the base.
So. All right, 25 cheeseburgers.
I kind of got emotional when I saw destruction when I was coming in, so it's incredible what Mother Nature can do, but I feel sorry for the lives lost that have been happening, and I'm just here to support.
We are so happy that we make them happy.
Yeah.
That we help them in some form, shape, or form.
It's what San Antonio does, right?
Yes, that's what we do. When your neighbors are in trouble, we get out there, we go.
God just really placed it on my heart, and I prayed about it, and then I saw my good friend Gabe. I saw his post, and I prayed about it, and the first thing I had to do was just to come out here and be the hands and feet of Jesus.
For these guys to come out here and just clean up and for free. Yeah, thank you guys for everything. Everyone's doing this for free, man. No one's getting paid by the hour or on their salary. They're coming down for free.
People never cease to amaze. From Main Street here in Center Point to along the banks of the Guadalupe, it is amazing to see the give back during such a difficult time. In Center Point, Vinny Vanzetta, KENS 5.
Signs of support are popping up in the Hill Country. A Boerne business is behind the Hill Country Strong message. As KENS 5's Nate Ryan tells us, the signs are also about giving back.
You're driving down the street. You see a small cardboard cutout. Sometimes you may not think much of it, but you travel down Main Street here in Boerne, you'll start to notice a common theme: Hill Country Strong. In fact, these are littered all over the Hill Country. It's the meaning of the message that one local franchise is trying to spread as quickly and as powerfully as they can.
So I grew up in Kurville. I went to Ingram High School, class of 2005. Worked on the river out there in Hunt every summer at River and Resort. So right up the road from Camp Mystic. We wanted to do something. We wanted to help raise money. Printed a couple hundred signs, took them out to a few places in Boerne, and they were gone in seconds. Hundreds turned into thousands.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.
We actually reached out to our partners at Signorama across the country. They're helping kind of cover this because we can only print so many at a time. It's Hill Country Strong, but it obviously extends past the Hill Country in Texas. Texans come together when they need to.
So when you drive down Main Street, seeing the signs, the color, you know that everybody is coming together. Even in Boerne, we weren't hit with the flood, but just the impact it has brought to the community in Kurville and Comfort. We now have New Braunfels reaching out to us.
We're collecting zero money. We have a QR code that goes directly to the Community Foundation, so people donate directly to that. We just wanted to do our part to raise awareness and get people to donate.
Now, if you'd like to get your hands on one yourself, you can of course go into Signorama, or you can go to one of the designated sign pickup sites like here at the Boerne Chamber of Commerce. At the pickup sites, you'll see these QR codes. Scan to donate. All proceeds from the QR codes go straight to the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. These lovely ladies in there just told me that as of this morning, the Community Foundation had raised over $30 million for flood relief. If that's not meaning of the message, I don't know what is. In Boerne, Nate Ryan, Hill Country Strong.